our recording because it's just like super relaxed. There's a girl I work with, Ryan, and she's gonna help me with editing the videos. All right, guys, this is episode 2.
Hello.
This is one of my classmates. 2018.
That's right. I haven't seen
Shawn,
Chris
since graduation. Wait, no.
Yeah, no. We worked.
And then we worked together
as ushers a few times.
Yeah, with Jagged Little Pill.
It's been a long time. It's been since July.
I know. So, can you do me a favor? Super relaxed conversation, but can you let them know like where you're from and like where you're from and like what made you like a little bit about your background, maybe like your upbringing and why grad school, what made like what clicked, and then if you can get into like which grad schools you auditioned for and like what pieces you chose, like why, I literally, because I remember when I was like looking for grad schools, I was like I remember talking to 2 people and they told me some of their pieces, but then they never talked about like how much money to save, because when you're applying for grad school, like you have to like save up money. I worked double shifts at the restaurant, and I remember just like
because I had to come to. I was living in DC, so I had to come to New York to audition.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Where are you from? And all that.
So I'm originally from Northern California, but I've lived on the East Coast for 10 years. So
you can talk. You can like talk. Yeah, that's fine.
So I've lived in the East Coast for 10 years. I was in New York, and then I was in DC for about 5 years, and I used to act a lot as a child. Then I kind of stopped, and I thought I would never act again. I was like, I got into other things, career and like communications and marketing, and I was doing that.
You were making like really good money.
I had a solid career. It was great.
Another person that.
Yeah, there were several of us in grad school, which was great, including yourself, who had.
I was booking commercials.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I wasn't booking like. It would be like a commercial a month, and then I'll skip, and then I'll book another commercial.
Right.
Like I worked at the restaurant as well. I had savings, like a savings. 4 or 5 of us, like Rafa, Melissa, like.
Right. There were several of us who had really gave up a lot to go to grad school, and I think that was pretty common in our class. I think in college I was doing that, and for like 8 years I worked in marketing and communications.
So what clicked to you? What was just like?
Yeah.
Like I'm done with this, or like did someone be like, or were you like, I don't know, were you like, did you see a play, like did you see a movie, or were you like auditioning? You're just like, do I suck? Like what? Like,
no.
Can I get better at this?
I felt like something was missing in my life. Like I felt like I had advanced a lot in my career, but I was like, God, I really miss acting. And there was this program in DC. This called the Theater Lab in DC, which if you're in DC, I highly recommend it. The Theater Lab, they have adult classes, they have kids classes, acting classes.
The people in DC, what's the exact name?
The Theater Lab.
Theater Lab.
I took a class there. I was like, wow, this was great. I really like this. And then I was like, I'm gonna audition for their conservatory, this program, and I did that, and I got in. And so I did that for a year, and that was like, in addition to working, was a lot, but also very manageable because it was like only evenings and weekends, and it was awesome. Like I got to really play roles I would have never played. I got to explore, Tennessee Williams and Harold Pinter. What else? I got to do a lot of Noel Coward.
Okay.
So like we did a little bit of Shakespeare. It was a really, really solid program, and I think it prepared me for auditioning for grad school super well. And after that, I worked in some professional theater in DC.
Okay.
For a little bit.
So you did plays.
I did plays. Oh yeah, absolutely. I did plays. But I also knew as I was after that program, as I was auditioning, that I still felt like I wasn't quite at the level that I really wanted to be. That I knew, like, if I just devoted 2 years, a year, 2 years, 3 years, full time, that like I could really reach a different level. Like it's really hard to do when you're working. It's so hard. Like when we were in grad school, it just was our entire life.
We had no job.
6 days a week. The only job. It was
6 days, 7 days. Stop it.
Yeah,
we had class 6 days a week, but literally,
it was every day. It was
during your lunch hour.
Yeah,
there was no lunch.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
All these scenes, all these stuff.
You like looking over the scene. Okay, go. Go read lines. Like read it. You want to read? Go through this play. You want to? Yeah. I
it was
remember
crazy.
That. Yeah. Yeah.
But that is actually, it was a great, actually, for what I found like post-grad school life to be has been very similar, because auditioning is a full-time job, and
It is.
I mean, the amount of, my life has not gotten any less busy since finishing grad
Oh
school.
my God, that's good. We were applying for grad school. Like what schools did you reach out to or look up or like in?
So, I'm a little older. I'm
30s.
Yeah. So I was 31, I think, when I applied, or 30 or 31. And so I was like, I really want to do a program that's only like a year or 2 years, ideally. 1 year MFA programs in London. There's several of them. So those were really appealing to me, and I applied to 2 of them. I actually don't remember exactly which ones I applied to, but I did apply to 2 of them.
Okay.
And I auditioned for 2 of them. And I also applied to the program at University of San Diego, the 2-year.
Wait,
that's
UC
fully
San
funded.
Diego?
No, not UC San Diego. University of San Diego has a 2-year program, a classical training program that's affiliated with the Old Globe.
No, that's like, yeah.
It's not UC San Diego. It's University of San Diego.
Oh, okay.
UC San Diego has a different program.
But they only take like 5-6 people,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I auditioned for them. That's why I remember that.
For NYU, and I auditioned for because I was like, I wanted to try one of the top programs, and then I auditioned for ART Harvard because I knew it was only 2 years, and obviously it had a great reputation. I think I auditioned for 5 schools total.
But you knew about that on the East Coast. On the West Coast, we knew nothing. I knew nothing about that.
Interesting.
Because when you're in LA, like
the ART doesn't mean anything.
No,
Yeah,
and then
theater
also
is different.
it's like Yale and NYU because those are the top actors that are Lapita. Like when I was looking for auditions for graduate schools, like Lapita, and then where did Lapita go? Yale.
Right.
Where did Meryl Streep go? Yale. Where did a lot of the kids on the Orange Is the New Black show was hot as well, and like half of them out of Tisch. So it was like that's all. And then I just remember I only knew about Hart. I'm not gonna lie to you. I knew that I had a friend who went there, but I didn't apply there.
Yeah.
You know that? Did you guys do this on this coast? What is that big program? Like you can go and audition for like
URTA. I didn't do it, but yeah, people do that.
You could do URTA. So I did URTA on the West Coast.
Oh, great.
And like that's how I in San Francisco. I never will forget that weekend in February. And then you also audition for, you set up appointments for Tisch. You'll find that those schools will also be there that same weekend that URTA is there in San Francisco because to help kids out with traveling. And not paying that money.
In New York, it's different. They spread them out in New York because it's New York. So, but luckily, if you're in the East Coast, it's easier to travel. I mean, you can take a bus from DC.
Or a bus.
Right. From California, it's harder.
Laura's like, she rented a car to come to ART, and I was like, what?
Well, she lived in LA at the time.
No,
that's right. She was in New York.
And I was like, girl, you could have got on a bus. Or a train. I don't know, anyways. But
she auditioned in Boston, Laura?
I think she said she did. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. One of our classmates I auditioned with for a school in London. With Melissa. We were in the same audition group for...
Are you serious?
Yeah.
In Boston?
No, in New York. I did all my auditions in New York.
ART was in...
No, ART was in New York. I auditioned
ART
for ART
was in New York. Okay.
Yeah.
So you made an appointment with them, like you set you...
Yeah, and I had to come up to New York. I mean, even though I auditioned for 5 schools, I had to come up to New York 3 times because they were like different weekends.
Crazy.
So, I mean, it sucked, but...
Was it Scott and Julia and Erica?
In the room, yes. For ART, it was Scott, Julia, and Erica. Julia was the administrator, Scott was like the head of the institute, and Erica was the voice teacher.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy. And do you really want to quickly tell them? I mean, and also when we're saying like our audition pieces, it's not necessarily saying
I think
they're,
it's a great thing.
They're great for you, but this is what we auditioned with because it was meant something to us, and like you could take a look at it, and also you're also going to hear a lot of people say like, I remember people saying like this monologue was used a lot, and especially for Shakespeare, I feel like, that shit's like the 1500s, like, you're gonna like, or wait, Shakespeare's like what, 16, 17? Like, they're gonna hear it 100 times, but they're not gonna hear your version. I remember a lot of people telling me like, this monologue's used a lot, and I'm like, okay, well, let me just read the play and just see if I can connect to it, because whatever, you're gonna give something different in the audition room, so that's also another thing. I'm so glad you said that.
So what's funny is I used for my auditions several pieces, but the piece that sticks out to me is a piece from Guards of the Taj by Rajiv Joseph. And that play I actually auditioned for in DC, and I didn't get it, and it was one of those things that kind of I don't think I was a strong enough actor to do that play at the time. And I took I created a monologue from that play, and I actually still use it sometimes, but I used it for grad school. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is I didn't realize at the time, when I auditioned for ART, Scott also teaches at Atlantic Theatre Company in New York, or he used to teach there.
He used to.
And Guards of the Taj, I think, had their premiere at Atlantic, and it was right around the same time that I did the monologue. So Scott knew the play super well, and actually
Scott knows every play super well.
Yeah,
Scott,
but this was specifically like a very
fresh
and like it almost would have been. It was probably the perfect fit, and it probably was. It's a role that I'm perfect for. It's a play that fits me well. Everything about it made a lot. It's very contemporary. It was brand new at the time. So find material that really speaks to you. I recommend finding a coach. It doesn't have to be someone expensive at all. I mean, I used a coach, an actor in the DC area, and I met up with her not more than 3 times to work on my monologues, and that was super helpful. I highly recommend finding someone. Definitely find someone you can work with. I got lucky
in LA, Susan. And I also remember taking dance classes because I remember watching an interview with Jessica Chastain, and she touched a little bit about grad school, and I remember her saying like dance classes, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, okay. So I just remember, I was like, well, let me just get into some dance classes to see. And I remember loving them. But that's another thing that you can also do is take dance classes. Whatever, there's a car rolling by. Whatever you take at your teachers there, just know that you're gonna have another teacher at your school, and it's going to be
a different perspective.
Definitely a different perspective.
Yes.
And be open to it. Yeah,
yes.
For sure. Yes.
Definitely. Yes.
Accepted to. Yeah. Or did you have like any? I mean, you can, if you want to admit like what schools you got.
The only one I got into was ART. A really tough decision for me, to be honest. I
really.
Whether to go or not. Yeah, absolutely.
Because of your job?
Because I had a job, and I was in a relationship at the time. Basically, do I blow up my life or not? And financially, in every sense, it was a huge decision.
Because I was saying, like in like Laura's interview, I was just like, I didn't realize like the shipping costs. Imagine coming from like LA, like all the way over to the East Coast. Like I had to ship like half my stuff to my parents' house.
Right.
And we also talked about being a minimalist.
Right.
With like you have to say goodbye to some things.
Totally. Yes. Yes.
So, and like I had to pay for my plane flight. I had friends that had to come out and help me move. Yes. To Boston, believe it or not, like I needed all that help. I had a financial sponsor, like someone, a regular for my restaurant, financially paid for my apartment, and I don't know how my other. How was your living? If you want to talk about like your living situation in Boston, like did the school like put you up in, or did you find that all your own?
I totally found it on my own. In fact, we had a unique thing.
Did you not stay in like Airbnb?
I did stay at a long-term Airbnb at first because we had a. It was a strange thing with our program. We had only like 5 months before then we went to Russia. So it wasn't very long. So it was like not long enough to sign a lease or do anything. So I did a long-term Airbnb. It was a very small room and it was far. I was like one of the furthest away from campus.
Yeah.
So that was hard. I took a bus. Yeah, and I took a bus both years. I lived in Medford both years. So no, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, we're good. Thanks so much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Boston area is not cheap.
Boston area is not cheap because a lot of the startup companies are there. These kids, they graduate from MIT and Harvard, our school, and Tufts, and they stay there. There are a lot of startup companies in Boston now. So we start in August, and we have Igor. And he introduces etudes, and we had Alex, a translator. We also started learning Russian.